Please get your hymnals out and roll up to page 592, 592. The title of the song is The 90 and 9. The 90 and 9, page 592. Perhaps no gospel song has ever captured the hearts of the people as did The 90 and 9. And as one becomes better acquainted with this unusual circumstances leading to the writing of both the words and the music, one can see that the hand of the Lord was very evident in its creation. The story really begins in Fifeshire, Scotland, where lived Elizabeth Clephane, daughter of the sheriff and a devoted Christian. Estranged from the family and wandering through the world was a prodigal brother for whom she prayed and about whom she wrote the poem. The unusual facts of how the music for the song came to be written are as follows. D.L. Moody and Ira Sankey were holding one of their great missions in the British Isles. The year was 1874. One day in Glasgow, as they boarded a train for Edinburgh, the mail was handed to Mr. Moody, who immediately became engrossed in reading his letters. Mr. Sankey bought a paper and began to read it for the latest American news. He had about exhausted all the paper when, in the corner, he found a poem entitled The 90 and 9. As he read it, he exclaimed to Mr. Moody, "This is just what I have been looking for, a shepherd hymn." Mr. Moody was so engrossed with his letters that he did not hear Mr. Sankey's remark, and so the incident passed, but not before Mr. Sankey had carefully torn the poem from the paper and put it into his pocket. Some nights later, Dr. Horatius Bonar was asked to participate in the service with Mr. Moody. He chose as his subject the Good Shepherd. Mr. Sankey knew that at the conclusion, he would be called upon to sing an appropriate hymn. Mr. Sankey always played his own accompaniments on the little organ he had taken with him from America, and so did not have to worry about any accompanists. For a time, Mr. Sankey was puzzled as to what song to sing and began to review in his mind which one he might use when the time came. He decided that he should jot down some titles, and as he reached into his pocket for a piece of paper upon which to write, lo, he pulled out the piece of newspaper on which was printed the 90 and 9. As for Mr. Sankey began to reread the words, he was to later say, and I quote, "A voice seemed to say to me, 'Sing that hymn.' But I have no music," I replied. But again, the voice insisted, "Sing that hymn." It was then that I heard Mr. Moody say, "And now Mr. Sankey will sing." I arose, went over and sat down on the organ. As I touched the keys, there came to me, note by note, the tune as it is sung today. I must admit that as I finished the first stanza, I wondered if the melody would stay with me for the remaining stanzas. But God was good. Nothing changed, not a single note, when I had finished. Mr. Moody came and leaned over the little organ. I could see tears in his eyes, and I heard him say, "Where in the world did you get that?" At the moment, I could not reply, for to me, also, it had been an unusual experience. At the time, it was not known who had written the words of the 90 and 9. It was some years later that it was found that they had been written by 21-year-old Elizabeth Clephane, and that she had died 2 years before they had been published. This was also the case of another hymn she had written entitled, "Beneath the Cross of Jesus." Amen.
Amen. How many of you have heard of this song before? Heard of this song? Just a few of you. This is a first for me. So the choir is going to sing it for you, and then you guys can join in. Okay, choir, go ahead and stand up. All right, here we go. I need my music. All right. Here we go.
Safely lay in the shelter of
verse number 1, everybody together, ready? There mighty night, let's say